good. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Like this is our first pop up live, so we
I
kind of this is
know.
fun. Like kind of a random thought, but live. We're not gonna,
Yeah. We're
just gonna
just playing around with the random thought.
playing around with the random thought, and then we're just not going to take calls. Like we'll answer questions from our subscribers, but we just won't take calls, as this is just one of our
Hmm.
random thoughts. And this one came about twofold. So this one came about because a couple of weeks ago there was a conversation about like the older housewives. Are they being pushed out due to age? Or was it something else? So that got
Hmm.
me thinking that okay, this would be a good topic because I think it needs to be talked about and like
Hmm.
can we come to some sort of middle ground or what people think about it? Is it ageism? Is it something else? Like what's really going on here? So I kind of want to open up the conversation.
Okay, so this is kind of sensitive to me because I feel like I'm close to my expiry date.
Okay.
But I have two methods of thought for this, and I have two examples
Okay.
of both sides of the coin here. Okay, so we have someone like Karen from Real Housewives of Potomac, who I think is like the MVP of this season. She has been the adult in the room. She has stayed friends or tried to with both of these parties concerned in the little, brouhaha. And
Mm-hmm.
she's carried on herself like an adult. And she's managed to maneuver herself out of some iffy situations where a younger, less experienced person would have fallen into the trap. And then
Right.
on the other side of the coin, I have someone like Ramona from Real Housewives of New York City,
Mm-hmm.
who had the opportunity to become grand dame like with
Mm-hmm.
this season where you're bringing on newer characters like Leah. And in those moments, those rare moments where she was like a mothering, mentoring figure to Leah with regards to her relationship with her mom, I thought she
Mm-hmm.
was shining. She was brilliant. But then she let petty jealousy of youth
Mm-hmm.
twist her. And then the real Ramona showed up, and I was thoroughly disappointed. And I just feel she's been on the show too long, and we
Okay.
need new blood. But I
Okay.
want to keep someone like Karen
Okay.
because she interests me.
Got it.
And she has something wise to say. She kind of reminds me of Elsa from Real Housewives of Miami,
Got
although
you.
she wasn't a wife or anything, but I tuned in to see her. I thought she was great.
I agree. I mean, Elsa was. I mean, I wanted Elsa to be full time. I'm sorry. She was one of my favorites. She was wonderful. Like she always had good advice. She was
Yeah.
always there. She was always open. I love the fact that when when Marisol and Leah were having
Marisol.
issues, she
Mm-hmm.
stayed. She still kept her friendship with Leah, and Marisol was grown enough to allow her mother to have that relationship. So I really, really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, so from my standpoint, I don't really see it as an age thing within reality TV. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
more of a length of time because if we remember, Alexis was on the show for what 2, maybe 3 seasons, and they let her go because Bravo said we felt her story was done.
Mm.
So I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's a longevity thing. But I do think part of the problem is the ladies in New York,
Mm-hmm.
Ramona, Sonia, they came on like later in life,
Mm-hmm.
but they've been on the show for about at least what 8 seasons plus each.
Yeah.
So how much can you really? What more can they go through? We saw Ramona happy and married with Avery and Mario. Then they were cool for a little bit, and then we saw them go through a rough patch, which she really didn't talk about until Page 6 came out, and then they still didn't talk about it. And then they got a divorce. So for her, do we? Why do you think we are not really interested in seeing an older woman after her divorce, like in the dating pool? What what is triggering us? Because if I really feel we have a show with divorced men, people
Mm-hmm.
will be all here for it.
You know what it is? It with Ramona, it is the sense of being fake. Like,
Mm.
okay, She's out on these streets every night at some hotel bar looking for, like, I don't know what she's going to pick up, or she's going on 3 dates in one night, overbooking herself. She's, tossing away her friendships, or what are we supposed to think are her friendships. Like, it just doesn't feel real that she's tossing her cookies all about New York City.
Mhm.
And yet somebody says the word vagina, and all of a sudden she's Mother Teresa. Like,
Mhm.
there's a sense of falseness that comes over with her.
Mhm.
Either you a hoe or you're not.
So,
And there's nothing wrong with her throwing her cookies around New York City. I think I would love to see that.
mhm.
But don't chastise someone else for doing the same thing,
Right.
who
So,
who you don't deem as worthy of being a friend of yours.
right. Do you think this is why we accept Sonya the way she is, who's in the same age
Sonia owns
range?
it.
Right.
Sonia owns it.
And do you think that's why we as the audience accept her more? We kind of want to see more from Sonya. Let's be
Hmm.
honest, Sonya pulls some cool men. So I think we like her because she does just embrace it. She's like, you know what, I'm out here getting it in, and I'm cool with it.
And what I like about Sonia is, like, she's an equal opportunity, like, hoe. Like, she can fit in any situation. She could be at the Peninsula Hotel bar, hobnobbing with all of the elite of New York City, and then she could go downtown to Leah's party and be in with all the cool dudes, by the bar. She doesn't discriminate. She just wants to live her life and have a good time and make sure that her daughter is taken care of. And I can't find fault with that.
Right,
If I could do it, I would.
you make a good point. So, and this question goes out to the chat as well. Do we embrace Sonya because it doesn't come off as she's trying too hard, whereas Ramona seems to always be trying a little hard, like a little
Mhm.
forced. What do you think? Am I on the right track?
I think you are, because the two of them are essentially the same thing, but one rubs me the wrong way,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one I just, laugh and giggle at, because shoot, I wish I could be having a drink with her when she's falling out of her chairs, or her dress opens up. Well, I don't wish my dress would open up, but it's good to look at Sonia when hers opens up. Like, she
Right,
makes the show light and fun, you
right.
know.
Can you do me a favor and highlight Ayani's comment real
This
quick?
one,
And let's be honest, how many of the guys her age can actually perform?
is that
It's
up? Hold on, a little bit up.
a little bit
Aha,
up.
here we go.
Yes. So I mean, I agree with Ayani. Like, I'm not mad. Like, that's a very good point. I mean, I don't really see many men like Ramona's age putting in that kind of work, because like Ramona has a very high sex drive. Like, she says it. She does own that part, but she won't own her voraciousness. Like, she's like, for some reason she'll say like, "Oh, I have a high sex drive," but then she wants to act all prim and proper. So I'm like, "Oh, like, I just I want to be with someone. You want to be with many someones. Let's just call a thing a thing."
I think she's aspirational. I don't know if she is truthful.
Okay.
I think she says a lot of things on this show to get airtime.
Mm.
But do I think that she's being truthful? A lot of the times, no. I just don't
Mhm.
trust her.
Got it. Makes sense. So I want to take this out of reality TV, since we've kind of established that with reality TV, it's more about storylines and length of time versus age. Let's take a look at Hollywood. That
Mhm,
seems to be a different ball game. It
mhm,
seems that, from my vantage point, they tend to age women out, but do not do the same to men.
mhm.
Why do you think that is? Because I feel that it shouldn't be that way. I think a woman later in life, she can still do the thing. Look at Meryl Streep; she's still killing the game. So why aren't
Mhm.
more mature women given the same opportunities as more mature men. Because let's be honest, Sean Connery was considered sexy, and he was 80 or something like that. So why
Mhm.
aren't women looked in that same vein?
Because men run Hollywood. And they age out women faster. There are less roles centered around women, no matter what age you are.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you get your own production company, like somebody like Reese Witherspoon, you saw that she got that when she was probably in her 40s, which she had aged out in Hollywood. So what does she have to do to keep herself employed? Start her own production company and get writers and producers who want to create good films or TV shows for women. And she's been very successful at that. It's just unfortunately the people who control the money in Hollywood, which are men,
Okay.
discount the talent they have with the women that are there in Hollywood. It is just a shame.
Okay. So I didn't think of it from that angle point, and I agree with you
So
because
how did you see it?
I
You
just
always
did
have a
not.
good point of view.
I just thought they weren't. I just did more of along the lines like there are fewer roles for women of mature. Like
Mhm.
if you see things, they don't really write leading roles for um mature women. I didn't think about the fact that men just actually run Hollywood and they're not really thinking about the whole audience. I just didn't put that together because I just kind of feel like if you're talented, you're talented, and you should be able to work. Your talent should speak for itself. I mean, we've come a long way, but I really in my head thought we were further along than what we are, and that's a shame.
I'm going to bring it back to Real Housewives to give you a good example of it. Look at
Okay,
Garcelle. She had to create her own production company.
very
She
true.
is looping in talented women
Mm-hmm.
to give them the opportunities because look at Garcelle's age.
Mm-hmm.
She's a hustler.
Yes.
She's getting a lot of opportunities now, and she knows that this is rare. So, what
Mm-hmm.
does she have to do to continue like providing for her family and for
Mm-hmm.
her production company? She has to do all of this on her own. She's
Mm-hmm.
writing her own scripts. She's hiring female directors. She's doing all of the legwork in order to get good work out to the public. And it
Got it.
shouldn't be like that. It really shouldn't.
Not at all. I mean, you're right, but why? As I guess I can't wrap around my head. I can't wrap around the fact like men, a lot of men in Hollywood. I'm sure they have wives. They have daughters. Why aren't they more conscious of the fact like, hey, like I would want my wife to have these opportunities. I would want my daughter to have these opportunities. Why aren't they? Why are they still so stuck in their old ways? Is it because it's still an old boys club type thing? Do you think that's what really
Mhm,
what? Okay.
mhm. Money rules the world.
Mm,
And if you don't have money, you don't matter in their way of thinking. Is it
got
right?
it.
No. But until we get more women seated at the table to make these decisions and make changes and bring forward the huge amount of talent that there is with women who are not only actresses, but working the crews, being a director, being a playwright, a writer of a screenplay writer, all of those, parts that go into providing us with entertainment will still be stuck there and aged out by the time you're in your early 40s and you're playing a grandma to some, young, new, bright starlet who's barely 18.
Got it.
It
No,
is what it is.
I definitely get that because it's interesting. I'm not sure if it was on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it was on YouTube where Lucille Ball, her company Desilu, she made her own production company, and
Mhm.
they were the ones who produced the first seasons of Star Trek and Mission Impossible, and I did not
Yeah.
know that, and that was
Yeah.
so. I'm like, and this is way back what 1977, I think
No,
they
the
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 first
first Star Treks came out in the early 60s, like
early
between
'60s.
61,
Okay,
63.
her career ended. on TV career like ended in 77. Okay, I got the dates confused. Okay.
Right. And if you really think about it, if we go back to I Love Lucy,
Mm-hmm.
Lucy, I think, was in her 40s. She had aged out in Hollywood by then. So
Mm-hmm.
she got with her husband, Desi Arnaz, and
Mm-hmm.
they created that production company,
Yep.
you know, so that they could continue making money. And he was a pioneer in color TV broadcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So they did a lot for the entertainment industry. And she was a major player in that. But again, it is unfortunately because she was aged out in the movie business.
So true. So true. I mean, it's just amazing to think like this was in the early 60s and we really haven't come that far,
Nope.
if not gone backwards in some cases. So
Yep.
it's a shame. It's a really a shame because I just feel if you're talented, you should work. And I think that Gina made a very good point. I'm just trying to find it. Mature women know what they want and what they deserve. Hollywood wants
Mhm.
young girls they can manipulate. I have to go
Yep.
along with that, Gina B. I
Yep.
have to go along with that. That's very, very true.
And
Because
JC
what?
Bear has a really good point here that they don't produce any really good scripts for older women. They feel that nobody wants to see an older woman on there. It's just so sad.
And it's so weird to think that back in the day, like, how can I think? Oh, well, I'm trying to think what a show was in my head. Oh,
Mhm.
like back in the 80s when I was young, you had Falcons, Crest, Dynasty, and those were like the most popular TV shows on the primetime TV, and they were all more mature folks.
You remember Golden Girls? I
Of
watched that
course,
every Sunday
and
on the marathons. I love
they
Golden Girls.
they were so cool and they were so funny. The writing
Mhm.
was so good. It's just like, where are those shows? Like, why can't more shows like those come back? It's just it makes no sense because you have the talent out there. Why not use it?
No idea. One of these days they'll figure it out, or maybe someone like Reese Witherspoon, with the power that she has amassed in Hollywood right now, um, will continue on making or developing great TV and movie roles for women
Mhm.
who are not, you know, early 20s. I mean, you could have some of them in there, but don't
Mhm.
forget the more mature woman that still needs a job.
Mhm. Yeah, Gina B. Brown, another one. Yeah, Designing Women, very good. I watched all the
Yes.
seasons of that too.
Mhm.
The Sugar Bakers. Oh yes.
Mhm.
Oh
Mhm.
yes. I mean, I know this is our random thought, so we're gonna wind it down. But I
Mhm.
wanted to ask you one question. Do you think that once this the older generation of Hollywood kind of passes through, do you think this younger generation will be more apt to cast more mature um, actresses when they take over Hollywood? No, do you know what I mean? I hope I'm framing it correctly.
No, I get you. I get you. But we've had filmmaking for over a century now,
Mhm.
and it hasn't changed. So
Right.
it's based on whatever these people think will bring them the most money at any given time.
Hmm.
It really takes a courageous person to bring to the theaters
Hmm.
something that is not technically what the mainstream wants, because it takes a lot of money
Hmm.
to make these things, and no one wants to risk it. They only want the sure bet, which is usually some, action film or comic book superhero,
Hmm.
or something that is, derogatory towards females.
Got it. So it's geared, just basically everything's geared to the younger crowd because they are the most susceptible and will pretty much buy whatever you put out there.
They
And
have the most disposable income.
income.
That's what that is. Yeah.
All right. No, that makes complete sense. And I want people to really think about that because I think it's a hot topic. A simple fact, especially in reality TV. But you take it outside reality TV, you see what really goes on. Oh yeah, Golden Girls, Designing Women. Oh yeah, them was the people.
Mm-hmm.
Them was the people back in the day. Was it who else was out there? Mama's Family, if for those who remember that.
But you can't even count Mama's Family because Mama's Family was Mama was played by Vicki Lawrence, who was decades younger than the character she played.
But she was still mature though. She still wasn't young.
If you think about when she started that character on the Carol Burnett show, she was in her 20s.
Okay, gotcha. Fair,
Yeah.
fair. Because
Mhm.
they took the character from the show and made it their own show.
Mhm.
Okay, that's fair.
Mhm.
That's super fair. I just think Mama just like. I just think of her as Mama. That's pretty much what it is. That's what it is. Oh my goodness. So do you? Oh, with TV, I think it's always going to probably be a younger person's game now.
I think older women have a better chance on television than they do in the movies because there's a lot more. There's just a larger content on television with more channels and more opportunities to do stuff that's independent.
And more of a need in TV, you need those more mature characters, while in movies you really don't. They're really not quote unquote necessary. Okay, definitely. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
So we're gonna wind it up because we said about 20 minutes and we've just gone over.
Right.
But this is a good conversation, and I saw Blavi already. She's ready to counter. Speak up in the comments of Blavi, and if not, check us on the next live on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific for our deep dive into all things housewives.
Trey, before we go, I gotta say Trey. I like Trey. He's the older women seem to thrive in daytime TV, but there certainly is room throughout the industry. I agree. Like daytime TV, my mom used to watch stories on Channel 7, All My Children. I used to watch them with her. Yeah, I remember those. So,
yep, and it's because soap operas are matriarchal or patriarchal grounded.
Yes.
So those are the anchors of the show, and they carry on through the generations because we wind up watching them for 40 and 50 years, like Days of Our Lives.
So true. So I know we're going to wind this down, but I want everyone to please, like, if you have any more thoughts, please put them in the comments. If you have any like pop-up live random thoughts, ideas, topics, please put them in the comments as well. We do go through the comments, so we can definitely touch on those.
Yes, and don't forget to let us know if you like this type of format. So like, subscribe, turn on the notification bells, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.